was very sweet. Thank you. I do want to point out that Brad called me glamorous, and he actually hangs out with people like Beyonce. So, not people like Beyonce, like Beyonce. So, I will take that compliment. Thank you, Brad. So I want to welcome everyone to Center Dinner. There's so much to talk about. I feel like inspiration and strength and hope have been harder to come by recently. The day after the election in November, when I arrived at the center, almost immediately I started hearing from people. I heard from immigrants asking how to avoid being sent back to countries that would jail them or even murder them for being gay. I heard from Black and Latina trans folks who feared they would face increased violence. I heard from many who were scared they would lose their health insurance. And I even heard from some of you. And what I heard from you was echoed in what I heard from our staff and what they were hearing from clients, young and old, which was, how did this happen, and what can we do? And I too was grappling with my own personal feelings of fear and uncertainty of what was to come. I was fearful despite being one of the lucky ones, one who had it pretty good. The reality is many, many Americans and even many New Yorkers do not and still do not, did not and still do not enjoy the equality and justice this country claims to offer. So I've been doing a lot of thinking these last few months, and it's helped me clarify two things. First of all, the rights we have fought for and secured are more fragile than we think. Things can change literally overnight, and if we do not stay engaged through the good and the bad times, gains can be lost and progress reversed. Second, and this is the good news, we are not fragile. We are actually very strong, and we do not turn away from each other during the tough times, we turn towards each other. And the center has always been a place where we find community, strength, and pride. So the bottom line is, I'm not scared anymore. I am more determined than ever. I learned that determination firsthand from my family, and my mom is here tonight, so I want to give her a little shout out. Right over there. She's about this big. And then I learned it from many other brave women and men throughout my life, including each and every single one of tonight's 4 honorees. In particular, I have to say, as a woman leader in this community and in this city, Hillary Clinton helped pave the way for me. I am so grateful that she stood up, she got back up, she keeps getting up, and she's gonna get up here, right here, tonight. I am forever grateful. You see, in these times when fear is used as a weapon against our community and many other communities, I already know who I want on my team. I want the people who reached out looking for support and connection in the face of adversity. I want the people I am lucky enough to work with every day, the staff and the board at the center. I want them on my team. And the truth is, I want all of you on my team here tonight because I believe that you believe in a world where equality and justice are a reality and not just a soundbite. I want the fierce activists who have stared down discrimination and injustice in the face and battled it back. I want to be standing with the people who fought through the nightmare of the AIDS epidemic in the early 80s. when the only way to stop our community from disappearing was to come together, to demand attention, demand action, and to get out into the streets to save our own lives. This strength is the history of our community. It's the history of the center, and it's also our future. So I plan to link arms in resistance with our queer, undocumented youth who are boldly marching instead of hiding in the shadows. And they are shouting loudly and proudly, "We're here, many of us are queer, and we all belong in this country." Every one of us in the LGBTQ community has faced discrimination. LGBT people of color and trans and gender nonconforming folks even more so. But that's what makes us fighters. That's what has prepared us for another battle. And so in a time when some elected officials are championing policies that threaten the very lives of those they're sworn to protect, we will turn once again to activism. We will make our voices heard. Even if the administration in Washington thinks they can ignore us. We will look to our heroes for inspiration, to those who fought tooth and nail to get us where we are today. We'll remember how bravely those people fought. People like Marsha P. Johnson, Harvey Milk, Audre Lorde, James Baldwin, Baynard Rustin, and to those who continue the fight, Larry Kramer, Edie Windsor, Laverne Cox, and Janet Mock, and so many more. So even before the election, we knew there was a lot of work still to be done in the LGBT movement. Our community has been the heart and soul of resistance and change before. We know how to do it, and we'll do it together as a community. That all sounds great, right? Okay, are you fired up? Are you with me? Are you wondering how the hell we're gonna do it? Probably. Well, the truth is we were too. And so for the last few months at the center, we've been asking tough questions and listening to what people have to say about their fears, their hopes, and their needs. And we are focusing on creating a strategy and actionable plans to harness our community's legacy of activism, our energy, and our commitment to equality and justice. People are already turning to the center for help and leadership. We've seen a 30% increase in the demand for our services since November. Dozens of groups are relying on our infrastructure to mobilize, to organize, and to resist. And in turn, because of your generosity, we are offering greater support and assistance to the community, especially our trans brothers and sisters who face senseless violence, more legal clinics to communities facing new threats like LGBT immigrants, and a safe space for young people who are coming out in a climate in which bigotry and prejudice are too often rewarded. But we aren't stopping there. Tonight, we are committing to a new investment in our activist roots. And we are launching an advocacy and mobilization program at the center. We want to be ready at a moment's notice to inform and mobilize all of you on all of the issues that affect our community. We will provide tools to understand what's happening, to make our voices heard, and to take action. It isn't enough to just resist. We must constantly be taking steps to protect our gains, make actual change, and have a positive impact on people's lives. The truth is, for me, and perhaps everyone in this room, the personal has never been more political. And to make sure we do this right, we're in the process of reaching out to community members and leaders across the state to guarantee that this work reflects the real needs of LGBTQ New Yorkers of all different racial, ethnic, socioeconomic, and religious backgrounds. We'll add staff to help us engage and mobilize the community based on a positive agenda that transcends this particular political moment. We're committed to creating real change in the world for the LGBT community, and we'll do it just as we have for the last 34 years in a way that's thoughtful and community-driven. By reaching out to community leaders, experts, like-minded organizations, and to many of you, we'll help bring the LGBT community in New York State to the larger movement, and we'll help bring the larger movement to New York's LGBT community. And what better place to start than with our young people? Now, as most of you know, we have a fierce group of young people in our youth program at the center who are incredibly skilled and effective when it's time to stand up and advocate. I can attest to this firsthand. I have never had a conversation with one of our young people where I did not walk away utterly convinced of their power and their promise. So it's an honor to introduce you to one of these young people tonight, Tatiana, whose story you're about to hear. Tatiana is one of our youth program superstars. She came to us for community, and she became a leader. So please join me in hearing a little more about her story.